All right. Hi there, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Wes. Today we're going to be working on a pretty simple project in Scratch. It will be functionally very similar to the fruit catching game we made a couple weeks back, just kind of with the opposite result. But the main thing we're going to be learning today is how to make a start menu or a home screen. So the very first thing we're going to want to do when we get to the Scratch Create screen, we'll go to Backdrops here. And we are going to, you're going to need a home screen, a level, and a game over screen. I've pre-made mine. You can take your time, make them. If you want to make a brand new backdrop from scratch, you're just going to go down here to where it says choose a backdrop, go up to paint. Then you can, drag some rectangle in as your background. Maybe choose a less mustardy color. That's it's up to you though. And then you can drag shapes, whatever you'd like. You can use the paintbrush and draw. One thing I'd recommend is use this text tool here to type instructions for how to start your game. So for us, it will be press space to start. But really take your time, customize your backgrounds. You can go back and change them and edit them. If you want just a blank screen labeled home screen, a blank screen labeled game over, and then find your level just by choosing a backdrop. But if you would like to take your time, absolutely, by all means do. Pause the video. I'll be waiting when you're done, and make your screen. But once that's over and done with, we're going to choose our sprites. So for this game, I'm going to use Dot the dog. He's going to be my player sprite. Then we're going to need a line. All right, this will be our game over line. So I'll put it right down there at the bottom. Not game over line, excuse me. It'll make sense in a little while. Then we're going to choose another sprite. We want whatever sprite you want to be falling from the sky. If you want that to be balloons or bananas, by all means, go for it. I wanted an asteroid or a meteorite, which there isn't really in Scratch, and instead of drawing my own, I just went here to the orange. I set the size up to 150, then I went to costumes, converted this to a bitmap, so it looks kind of like pixel art, a little bit funky. And then I changed this fill to gray, paint bucket inside. Now instead of an orange, it's a big, huge flying space rock. Still called orange, anyway. But I'm also going to just make some variations. I'm going to change this to black because we're going to be making clones of this falling from the sky, which you might not want to look identical every single time. If you do, that's fine, but I'm going to make it so we can have a few different costumes, just like that. Oh, there we go. I'll duplicate it again. This time I'll change the color maybe to yellow, and one more time. This time I'm thinking orange. There we go. So now we've got 3 different costumes for our meteor. We'll come back to this one shortly. First up though, let's go over to our dog Dot, or whichever character you have to start. If you do want to choose a different one, I would recommend finding one when you go choose a sprite. If you hover over a sprite, it'll show all the different costumes it has. I would recommend choosing one like bear walking or something, that so it looks like it's moving. Just because we are going to be animating this game and making it look like it's moving. First thing though, we're going to go when green flag clicked, and we'll go to looks, and we're going to hide our dog. The reason we're going to do this, actually let's go to backdrops right now. So we'll go to backdrops to our code. We're going to go events, when green flag clicked, looks, set switch backdrop to, mine is home screen, whatever you've labeled your home screen as, that's what you're going to want your backdrop to be. Then I'm also going to broadcast message 1, new message, home screen. Okay, so it's going to broadcast this message home screen. Now, when I receive home screen, we're going to go to looks. We're going to, you probably guessed it, switch our backdrop to home screen. Go to control. We're going to go grab a repeat until loop. Make sure it's the repeat until, not a repeat 10, not an if then or a forever loop. You need repeat until and then a diamond shaped blank. We will go to operators, grab this blank equals blank, then we're going to go looks, backdrop number equals 2, then we'll go back to control. We'll need an if then block, so if diamond blank then that loop. Then we'll go sensing, if space key is pressed, then we're going to broadcast our message 1. This message will be called start. Start. Again, when I receive message 1 change to start. We're going to switch our backdrop to whatever your level is going to be. So for me, that's Space City 1. All right, there we go. So now when we click our green flag, we have our home screen here. When we receive home screen, it's going to switch it to this backdrop. You don't need to have it like this switch backdrop to home screen. We can take that out, throw it away, and then when we click our green flag, it's going to immediately broadcast this message. As soon as this script receives that message, it's going to switch the backdrop, just so it's a little bit less of a to-do big start setup. Okay, but now that we've done that, if you press the space key, click your green flag, press your space key, it's going to switch to our level. I'm just going to hide this orange, this boulder for now. But we'll go back to dot or our player character. I'm going to go to events. When I receive start, we're going to go back to looks. We'll show our dog. Also, we'll switch costume to, I think, dot A, probably be the one I want. I set my size to 50%, so I'm just going to make sure that stays the case. Set size to 50% in case we want to change it later on and be able to put it back to normal. Then, oh, you know what? We're going to need to show dot again. So drag your character to wherever you'd like them to start. For me, that's going to be right there. Then we're going to go to motion, the blue circle on top. We're going to go to X and Y. Make sure you have dragged your sprite to where you want them to start first, because then your go to X and Y coordinates will be your coordinates that you see on the screen, which is the coordinates where your dog is. If you change your mind, you want to move them after, you can just type new coordinates in there. So if I wanted it to be negative 210, there we go. Now it'll go to negative 210 instead of 211. But wherever your sprite is, that's gonna these numbers are gonna reflect that. Last thing we're going to do is point in direction 90. Okay, so now green flag clicked, space to start. There we go. We've got our doggo right there, ready to go. Next up, we'll go to control. So we're going to make our dog move from the from the right side of the screen to the left and left side of the screen to the right, back and forth. So in this forever loop, we're going to need an if-then block. In sensing, in that blank there, we're going to go if space key is pressed, put it inside there, in that blank, and we'll change this to right arrow. I'm going to do right arrow, left arrow. If you don't have arrow keys on your keyboard, you can do A and D, you can do W and E, really whatever keys you'd like, as long as you're not using them more than once for another command, or as long as you're going to remember what you chose. But then we're going to go to motion, we'll go point in direction 90, and change X by 10. So our X coordinate is right here, it's left to right, Y is up and down, we're moving side to side, so we want to change X by 10. Next thing we're going to do, we're just going to right click on this if then block, and we're going to duplicate. So we'll duplicate all 4 blocks, put them under there. We're going to change right arrow to left arrow, or A or W, whatever you've chosen. We're going to change 90, drag it to point to the left, this clock here, change it to -90. We're going to change X, instead of changing it by 10, we'll change it by -10. So instead of moving to a positive value on this X coordinates here, it's going to move to a negative value, which will bring it back towards the left. So we click our green flag, space to start, floats left to right, points in the direction he's moving, but he's not moving his feet. So we're going to do one more script over here. Again, start with when I receive, start. We're going to go to a forever loop and an if-then loop. Now, we have done this before. I'm going to show you just a more simplified script, an easier way to do this today. We're going to go to operators. Okay, we're going to grab this blank or blank block, put it right in that spot right there, and then we're going to go to sensing, grab 2 key space pressed blocks, change 1 to right arrow, 1 to left arrow. Then we're going to go to looks, grab 2 switch costume blocks. Okay, we're going to switch costume 1 to B.B, costume 2 to B.C, because those are the costumes over here that make it look like Dot is walking. Alright, then we'll go to control, wait 1 second, put each one on top, one on the bottom, change 1 to 0.1, 0.1. Not really long enough for us to perceive, but long enough so that this isn't just happening instantly. So now we click our green flag, space to start. There we go, our dog. So when we touch the arrow keys, he switches costumes, moves his feet, and wags his tail. So he's not just floating back and forth. So because we want these both to do the same thing, we could have 2 different if-then loops here. We could have an if right arrow key pressed, switch costume to .B, wait 1 second, switch costume to .C, if left arrow key pressed, and then the same thing. But because it's the same result, the only difference is which key we're pressing, we can just have it be one shorter, more condensed script. Okay. One more thing we're going to do here is we're going to go events when I receive home screen. We're going to go looks and hide. I don't think we'll need this green flag clicked hide. We can get rid of that. This way, if we get a game over screen, we go back to the home screen. Dot will be hidden, and since we broadcast the message home screen when we click the green flag, we don't really need 2 scripts that do the exact same thing. But now that we've got our dog moving, we're going to go over here to our orange, or meteorite, or object fallen from the sky, whatever. We are going to go events when I receive home screen. Actually, let's duplicate this so we can do it both at the same time. But when I receive home screen, we're going to hide. When I receive start, we are going to control, we'll wait 1 second, grab a forever loop, and then a repeat loop. So whatever number we put in here is how many clones we're going to get and how many objects we're going to have falling from the sky at the same time. You can put in whatever you'd like. For now, I think I'll do 6. If that's too hard or too easy, you can increase it or decrease it. We'll go just like that there. Then we're going to go down, grab create clone of myself, go to looks, and grab the next costume block right there in the middle. So it'll be when I receive start, wait 1 second, then a forever loop, a repeat 6 loop, create a clone of myself, next costume, and then however long you want it to, so all of the clones don't fall at the exact same time, we can put a wait 1 second. In this loop, I'm going to change 1 to maybe 0.25, and then I'm going to grab another wait 1 seconds block, put it inside the forever loop but underneath the repeat 6 loop, and then whatever value you have in here, that's how long it's going to take in between I guess waves of asteroids falling from the sky. So if I want it to, if I want to have, like, 10 asteroids fall from the sky, but I want a lot of time to rest in between, I can change that repeat 6 to repeat 10 and wait 1 second to wait 2 seconds. Doesn't really matter, you can play around with it, change it after we've got this going, and so that it gets started. And you can kind of change it to be the way you'd like it, but we're going to go still in control. We'll grab when I start as a clone, grab that block. First of all, we're going to want to show our sprite. Then we're going to go to motion, going to grab this go to X and Y block just like we had before. The Y value, we're going to want it to be the top of the screen, so we're going to change it to 180. Then we're going to go operators, pick random 1 to 10. We'll change the first number to, I don't know, 240, second to 240. So negative 240 and 240. So it's going to pick a random number in between there. So from over here to over here, it'll pick something random to drop our meteors or our asteroids down from. One last thing, I think you'll have to go to motion because we drew this tail here. We don't want it to just fall sideways. I probably should have made the tail pointing up, but we're gonna go point in direction. I think 180 will be what we want, just because we're going to turn it 90 degrees, so instead of pointing to the right, it's pointing down towards us, the direction it's falling. If that's wrong, then we can go back and change it afterwards. Then we're going to go to control. We will grab another forever loop, and let's go change y by, so if we have change y by 10, it's gonna, our clones are going to spawn up there at the top and then float upwards. We want them to float downwards, so we want it to be a negative number. However large the number in here we put is how fast they're going to fall. So I don't know, anything between like 4 and negative 10 should work. It'll just be the bigger the number, the more of a challenge this will be. So then we're going to grab two if-then blocks, or if-then loops, put them both underneath of change x by, or change y by -7, but make sure they're not, one's not inside of the other one. It's just one on top, one on the bottom. We're going to go to sensing, going to grab two touching, where it says touching mouse pointer. You can change touching mouse pointer to touching line, and touching dot. So we just need it to be touching this line at the bottom and touching our sprite dot. so that it knows what to do, essentially. We'll go to Control. Under touching line, we're going to go delete this clone. Under touching dot, we'll go to events, and we're going to broadcast message. We're going to have a new message. This one will be titled, this one will be titled Game Over. All right. All right. So now we can hit start here and see what happens. Space key, moving left to right. Oh, I've got all these meteors falling from the sky. Gotta avoid them if I get. Oh. Okay. So when they touch the green line there, they disappear. When they touch dot, they do broadcast game over, but we haven't, nothing happens when we receive game over. So we're going to have to do almost done. We just need to add another script to each sprite here. So we're going to go, when I receive game over, we are going to Control, grab this stop all block. But we don't want it to stay stop all, because that'll stop everything. So do stop other scripts in this sprite, and then delete this clone. So if a meteor touches dot, we're going to broadcast game over. When our meteor receives game over, it's going to stop everything else. So it's going to stop creating clones. It's going to stop the clones that are falling. Then it's going to delete the clone that touched dot. So now, when our backdrops, again, we're going to go, when I receive game over, we're going to switch backdrop to game over. We'll wait a set amount of time, however long you want your background to be up there, 3.5 seconds maybe. And then we're going to go events, broadcast, home screen. So, test it out here. If we get hit by an asteroid, it changes our background to be that game over screen, shows it for a little while, then changes it back to the start menu, so we can play the game again if we'd like. Pretty simple. The only other thing left, if you want, there's a couple optional things we can do. First being make a custom costume. So what I've done before this started, I made a copy of one of my dot costumes just by right-clicking, duplicating it, and I edited it a little bit so he had this scared face. So now we can go to events, when I receive game over, looks, switch costume to, I think it was dot C2, and again we can go to Control and stop the other scripts in this sprite. That way once we get hit, we're not still moving left to right. So this will have the kind of scared dot face. Another thing we can do, this one's kind of fun, we can go here. So when I receive start, go to looks, and we're going to play with some graphical effects here. So we're going to go grab the set color effect right here. I'm going to change color effect to pixelate, change the number to 100. I'm going to duplicate this block, change pixelate to ghost. Then I'm going to go to Control, I'm going to repeat 10. And looks again. We're going to grab, instead of, so on top here we need set pixelate effect, set ghost effect 2. On inside this repeat 10 loop, we need change color effect or change pixelate and ghost effect. I'm going to change that to pixelate, duplicate it, put it right underneath, still inside, and the other one to ghost. I'm going to do, I think, 50 is a good number, and -2, -2. So essentially, we'll click here and see what happens. I'll show you. So we start invisible, and then we kind of have like a pixely kind of start. So these are both set to 100, which means you're going to be a fully pixelated mess. Your ghost set is set to 100, so you're going to be completely invisible. Then we have this repeat 50, and inside the 50 we have 2 and 2. So basically we just need, it's like multiplication or division. So if we have 100 here, 100 divided by 50 is 2. 50 times 2 is 100. So we need these two numbers to match up with this one here. Otherwise we're going to be, if we do 25, or if we do repeat 50 and we only change color effect by -1, we're still going to be half pixelated and half invisible. So you just need to make sure those numbers match up, but that's a nice and easy start. Kind of some extra little flavor for your game. The last thing we'll do here, if you want, we will go to we'll go to events. When I receive, we're going to do this, you can do this under whatever sprite you'd like. You can even do it on the backdrop is normally where I put it, but we're going to set up a score. So when I receive start, we are going to you know what, actually we want this line hidden too, so we're going to go when I receive start, show, and we're going to go to variables. We're going to make a new variable called score. Oops. For all sprites, we are going to set my variable to 0, change my variable to score. We are also going to hide my variable, switch my variable to score. Then we'll go to control, grab a forever loop right underneath there, and we'll go wait 1 second right there. Back to variables, we're going to change score by 1. So it's just a timer now, essentially. So every second our score is going to increase by 1. So every second we survive in our game, our score goes up by 1. We also need when I receive game over and when I receive home screen. So when I receive home screen, I'm going to hide. When I receive game over, we're going to hide our line, but we are going to show our score. There you go. We don't have to show hide our score when we switch to home screen, because maybe you want to keep seeing your score there. I'm going to drag this over, just put it right there. But so now we'll try our game. Press space key to start. Our dog floats in there. Got to dodge these asteroids, but if we get hit, game over screen. The only thing was there, oops, you know what, I had hide score, I meant to show score. There we go. So now when we receive game over, we're going to hide our line but show our score. But there you go, quick working game. Now you can make a home screen. You can go back and make a home screen for any project you've made. They're pretty simple. For whatever other optional, like we had a couple optional additions you can make to this game as well. But if you want, if it's too easy right now, there's not enough meteors, maybe you can, again, we can go into this orange here. We can change repeat 6 to repeat 10, so there's 10 meteors falling. We can change wait 2.5 seconds to wait 0.1 seconds and wait 1 second to wait half a second, so everything's moving faster. We can have them fall faster if you change this -7 to like -10. Yeah, but really, whatever else you guys can think to add, if you want to maybe make a more detailed home screen or game over screen, go for it. But when you're done, make sure you're saving your game, and you're just going to click right here. If you want it to share your project so that other people can see it and like it and heart it and all that stuff, you'll click share right there. And oh, you know what else, actually, sorry, there's one more thing we have to do. In our line, when we receive game over, we're going to show variable score, but we also need to stop other scripts in this sprite, so that if you noticed, our counter just kept going up forever. We don't want that. So when we click space, there we go, hit, it only lasted 2 seconds. That's when it stops there. There you go. All right. Anyway, now, you know what else we need to do, actually? We're going to go to events. When green flag clicked, we will hide our score, and we will set it to 0. It will be set to 0 every time we receive start. It will be hidden. So I don't need to do that. I want to set score to 0. I want to hide score. This way, just when we have the space screen, we're always going to have the previous score there. We don't want that, so green flag, now it's gone. I'm going to save it. It's already shared, so I'm going to go to my project page. You can type in instructions right here. And yeah, I would love to see them, so you can, if you're a member of my online classroom, add it to the studio. I will label look out. I think I'll name this one. Or if you're not a member of our classroom and you'd like to still share it, you can copy links and post them in the comments of this project here. Or if you're a member of our Boys and Girls Club's Club Hub Facebook page, you can share them there as well. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm really looking forward to see what you guys made, and I will talk to you next time. Bye now.